Quite frankly, this album dropped far sooner than I could have ever comprehended. I'm still wrapping my head around Thank You, and then this one sneak attacks and clobbers my mind with an elephantine cardboard tube. Black Dresses, formed by prolific musicians Rook and Devi, are one of the most promising duos of the decade, and they only truly began to really start leaving footprints last year with a debut album, Waste Isolation, that upon new listens is only continuing to floor me, as well as wall, ceiling, chimney and marble top kitchen counter. There's a sardonic sense of humour that masks the otherwise very serious depictions of trauma, illness, dysphoria and the systemic silencing of many a queer individual who has only found a way of empowerment and making their voice heard through the void of the big, scary, dangerous but ultimately vital internet. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to stop the recording for a moment. I've actually got pins and needles in my left leg. I think when it comes to anything acting like a mask though, nothing seems to be more apparent than the very soothing, peaceful, buttery distortion. Whatever reservations you would have about this album would only be doubled down on with Thank You, an album that ramps up the loudness to levels that immediately polarize the bigger rate your music centric audience they accidentally reached at the time. Said loudness made hearing the intricacies in the melodies and vocal work extremely difficult to make out, unless you were listening desperately through the barrage of brick-walled sound, candy-coated melodies and the staple electric guitars that I think that Rook just has on standby like a specialty skill in an RPG battle. Everything about this was uncompromisingly ugly by sound, and did I like it? You fucking bet your ass that I did. Genuinely one of the most I don't give a fuck type of albums, while also hinting at, except I do kinda give a fuck. It is an album about finding friendship through the void, engaging people in an act of special communion to those who have been made ostracized and hopeless feel a lot less alone in their struggle. But while Thank You was rolling in sarcasm and a hearty lemon pepper dash of pessimism, Love and Affection for Stupid Little Bitches is an album that sounds a lot brighter and optimistic in return. The progression from brooding and mysterious to vibrant and friendly is the first thing I noticed, although of course it's being battered out by those asteroid belts of noise and the occasional screamed hook. This is the closest thing they've done to a true blue electro-pop album, the kind that could play during an AMV for Happy Tree Friends. Is that a song that doesn't clip? Damn sellouts. The culmination of the entire thing strikes me as an album that was meant to sound a lot more comforted, and the word that comes to mind is friendship. This is an album about Rook and Devi's friendship, and how that strong a bond can be a powerful coping device for their individual struggles. On Bloom, the two verses call out to each other. No matter how out of tune the prayer is, it is heard. Devi sings that she never thought she could go to heaven until she died and met you. And yes, death is still ever a present theme, but it seems like less of an obstacle anymore and just a circumstance. The evolution from the mantra on the last album, dead bitches recognize each other, to what's on this one, dead girls dry each other's eyes and pretend for a while that we're still alive, is frankly beyond words. Unless the words happen to be, wow, they really like writing about death, don't they? Cartoon Network drops one of the most creative song concepts on the floor like a bag of groceries, framing every day like a horrendous episode to a TV show that won't stop, feeling so detached from yourself and those real life events that you begin to see yourself as an absurdist cartoon character, and subsequently wishing that it was all a cartoon so that you could at least look at these events like some kind of metaphor. But it's not that, it's not fictional, it's real. For a song so whimsical and blissful, the industrial drones and the percussion give it the sense that the wallpaper is slowly melting away and revealing the hell underneath. What makes this album so effective is the sound palette. It sounds a lot more revealing given the instrumentals aren't caked in so many distracting noise. Although that's what I liked about Thank You, it's just that this shows the opposite side of that doubloon, paced with MIDI pianos, warped synthesizers, chiptune arpeggios. This album is so musically expressive and shapes these sounds into portraits of their psyches. The introduction of Drool is just purely fantastic post-production, in taking a scream and turning it into something rhythmic without losing track of what makes that scream such a scathing remark in the first place. But it's the final two songs where this album really begins to excite me about what Black Dresses are, what they can become, what they represent. It's like they said, you know what, drop the distortion, we're just gonna write some solid, passionate tunes, we're gonna see how it goes. And the song Music sent shivers down the prematurely concluded dinosaur tale that is my spine. It's warped, it's drifting, it's groovy, it's affectionate. Meanwhile, My Heart Beats Out of Time is anthemic, really. It calls back to that notion I mentioned from the track Bloom. Yeah, they describe themselves as dead and suffering, but the importance in human connection and friendship gives them a reason to persevere and find any semblance of hope, which is exactly how the album ends. Thank You taught me that there's no correct way to be pissed off, just ways that'll piss others off too. Love and Affection expands on this in a surprisingly heartwarming way, that it's also great to be pissed off with somebody else by your side. Yeah, I'm not sure if you really expected this one, but it's a 9 out of 10. Again.